Hey everyone, we're back. Make sure your cameras are on. Cameras, please. Right, we're missing. See, Lean, Clenard. Okay. Sam is running away. Right. All right. So, do you have any questions regarding this previous chapter? Before we start. Questions? All right. This next chapter is a long chapter. There's just a few things that I will skip because we have like this one's syndications at the end, because we have a chapters 18 for investments, and we'll talk about syndications again, and a few things we talked about in the first day anyway. All right, so let's start with the core activity of a brokerage. First of all, what does the word brokerage mean? What does the word brokerage mean? Anyone? The word brokerage, what does it mean? Like just one person. Don't answer all at once, okay? Just one person. What does the word brokerage mean? Canadian, a real estate advisor means a person, right? I'm asking the word brokerage. A group of licensed agency, maybe. Maybe. Real estate agency. What if it's an insurance brokerage? Is it real estate? What does the word brokerage mean? Come on. Don't Google. Come on, don't Google. Okay. All right. So Marta says business. Sure. All right. What does it mean to broker something? What does it mean to broker something? It means simply that somebody has a product that somebody else wants, and you're the one in the middle helping that transaction go through. So brokerage literally means mediator. That's what it is. Mediator. Brokerage. The act of brokering something means mediator. So what we're doing is we're finding, in terms of real estate now, right? We're finding a buyer, seller, tenant, or property on behalf of a client for the purpose of completing a transaction. We're brokering the deal, we're mediating the deal, we're facilitating the deal, whatever way you want to say it. Somebody has a product and somebody wants to buy it. Simple. Brokering. We're in between two parties and helping them conclude their transaction. Brokering. Okay? Like, for instance, Uber brokers the taxi type of transactions, right? Somebody wants a ride, somebody has a car, wants to make money. So boom, they broker. They're a brokering platform. Forex. So for foreign exchange, if you want to buy currencies from other states, right? From other countries, right? There's forex platforms that help you broker that transaction. So you have the money, you want to buy. There's platforms for that, and so on. So brokering or brokerage simply means somebody has what somebody wants, and you're helping find that somebody or that product. All right. So if successful, a broker receives commission according to the provisions of listing agreements, and the broker's compensation for effecting a transaction is usually a negotiated percentage of the purchase price. So we just talked about that in the previous chapter. Broker cooperation, you are responsible to work with other brokerages. It's called co-brokerage. We know that. MLS, we just talked about in the previous chapter, where I said there was a sorry. Sorry about that. Where I said there was Craigslist for realtors. That's where we advertise to all the other realtors properties are available on the market. All right. Now, critical brokerage skills. If you guys remember day one, right? If you guys remember day one of this class, we talked about the real estate activities, right? And the things that you needed to learn, including some skills and knowledge, right? One of the skills you have to effectively develop, one of them, is how to obtain a client listing. Right? Because if you don't have a client listing, you don't have sellers. But you can also deal with buyers. You don't have to just get listings. You can get buyers. But if you do get a listing, you need to get the skills on how to market effectively or effectively market that listing. This will be for both the seller or the buyer side, facilitating the closing of a transaction. So you need to know all the details, and we have a chapter just for closings, chapter 21. You have to know all the details of a transaction, beginning to end. Not because we do all those things in the process, but to know exactly what's next and who to bring it to. Okay? So these are skills that you need to develop. And obviously, I mean, this I think is the most obvious of all. Managing market information. You need to understand the market that you're in. Some realtors are oblivious to the market that they're in. Right? But you have to understand market. All right. And we have a chapter just for marketing, market as well. Okay. We talked about listings before, certain clients, types of transaction, properties. Brokerage versus trading. We did talk about this in the first chapter as well. Brokerage is your mediator. Trading is I buy properties, I fix them, I flip them. Okay, so it's my own. I'm trading my own properties, right? Brokering is you're doing for somebody else. Brokerage versus advisory services. Brokering, this means I'm helping somebody, right? We also covered this already. So brokering means I'm helping somebody sell the product they have or find a property or a product that they want, right? Advisory services, somebody comes to me and says, Bruno, I just want to have a valuation of my property, or what is the market doing, right? If I'm charging for those services, those are called advisory services. I'm not engaged in the transaction. Can we use our license to make money by providing advisory services like BPOs, broker price opinions, CMAs, comparative market analysis? Can we use our license to do things like that? The answer is yes. Those are called advisory services. But brokerage or brokering is helping somebody in a transaction. You're the buyer, you're the seller, I help you. Simple. Versus independent services. Okay? So some of the advisory services include providing estimate of value, market analysis, or even managing the property. Okay? Okay, if I'm going too fast, let me know. It's just some of the stuff here we already covered. That's why I'm skipping to go to where we're going to spend some time, okay? So, common brokerage specialties. It could be by transaction type. If you guys remember this also from chapter 1, sales, rentals, assignments, exchanges, subleases, or options. It could be by property type. Property type could be residential or commercial. Single family, condos, co-ops, mobile homes, apartments. Commercial is retail, office, industrial. You can specialize, brokerages can specialize in any of these. Could be land, right? Undeveloped, developed, agricultural. Could be special purpose government, religious, or recreational properties. You could even market businesses or even real estate securities. You might need a license, you might not. So, real estate license law says, right, all 50 states and Canada, I still don't understand why Canada is here on this list. It's already tough to get out of the New Jersey license. Imagine getting to a Canada license. But all 50 states and Canada impose legal licensing requirements on any person or business entity desiring to broker real estate. So if you want to help somebody and you expect money, you got to have a license. To obtain a broker's license, an applicant must complete required education, which is what you guys are doing here, meet the experience requirements as a salesperson. Every state is different. In the state of New Jersey, as an example, is 3 years, and pass the state examination. You must be at a certain age. They do background check on your criminal records and professional background. Practicing real estate brokerage without a license is illegal. You guys already know this. And anyone who plans to obtain a real estate license should become familiar with the real estate license law of the relevant state. Okay. Range of business entities. To open up a brokerage, so a company that helps other people in the transactions, to open up a brokerage, we can open up as sole proprietors. Now, sole proprietor means me, me, and me, right? And there's a problem here. For protection purposes, right? For protection purposes, as a lawsuit happens, for instance, the me, me, and me means you're also fully liable for everything. I'm not saying that under an LLC or under a corp you're not, right? I'm not saying you're not liable, because a broker is liable, right? But as a sole proprietor, you are personally liable for your own debts. Okay? So that means that if the business that you're conducting as a sole proprietor gets sued, or there's damages to the transactions or whatever, right? You might have to go into your pocket reserves to fill in the holes that you have to cover. You don't want that. You don't want to have to be forced to sell your property, right? Be forced to sell your property to pay for something that's a real estate transaction, right? So we create corporations or LLCs as well, right? We get into corporations. Why? Because a corporation is a shield. It's a separation of the personal with the business, okay? Your license is still your license. You're still personally liable because it's your license. But as far as a business as a whole, right? It's a little different. There's a shield. There's a separation. It's its own legal entity. And a corporation for profit consists of one or more persons authorized to conduct business for profit. There's a board of directors elected by stockholders that will oversee the business. There's officers like a president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and there's managers that conduct the day-to-day affairs or activities, right? The distinguishing characteristics, the main distinguishing characteristics, is that there's a perpetual existence. See, as a sole proprietor, when you die, right? Not that in a corporation you don't. Difference is, will the business keep on living? See, in a sole proprietor, when you die, so does your business. In a corporation, when you die, your business did not die, because the business is the corporation and you are a stockholder or shareholder of the corporation. Can somebody take over? Yes, right? As long as that person is, for instance, in the brokerage, as long as that person is licensed, yeah, take over. That's it. Okay. Formation, it depends on state law for you to form a corporation. Liability, here's the cool thing about the corporations, and that's why I said it's a shield. If you get sued for any reason, well, you are only liable to the extent of your shares. Only liable to the extent of your shares. So there's a protection. Okay. Depending on how the corporation was filed, officers and directors may be held personally liable. So only officers and directors of the company may be held personally liable. So can a broker be personally liable? It depends. Okay, it depends on how it was structured. There's different types of corporations, right? And then taxation. The disadvantage, the main disadvantage of corporations is that you are double taxed. You're taxed as a corporation, and then you're taxed as an individual. That's the major disadvantage for me for a corporation. The other disadvantage is the management requirements, management of the paperwork requirements. Ridiculous. If you're a single person, right, running the show, to me it doesn't make sense. Okay. Then we have partnership. I mean, there's nonprofit corporations. They're not for profit. This business is for profit. So therefore, nonprofits cannot broker real estate. There's partnerships. Partnerships are another big mistake, right? I'm not saying that you cannot do business with other people, but partnerships are another big mistake because of this. Just like a sole proprietor, it's just that instead of being a sole proprietor, you have two or more people and you share the liability. What does that mean? If we get sued and only one of us can afford to pay the lawsuit, we share the liability. So we're jointly and severally, right? We're fully liable for debts and obligations. So if I have the money and you don't have the money, I have to step up and pay for everybody, whatever the damage was, and then try to get from you whenever possible. And there's no excuse to say, oh, wait, we're 50-50 partners. No. You're 50-50 partners, that's between you and your partner. In a lawsuit, you're a whole. You're one. So either one person pays or the other one person pays. Simple as that. That's the bad thing about partnerships. There's advantages. Taxation, right? It's passed through, so you don't pay double taxes. Limited partnerships, a little bit better than general partnerships. You know why? Because a limited partnership is literally me saying, hey, I'm the general, so I control. I'm the one telling you what to do or not to do, and you are limited. So I can ask you guys, look, it's great for real estate transactions or even for a real estate agency. It's great in the sense that I'm asking you guys for money so I can run this venture. I'm asking you for money so I can run the venture. For you, you are limited to the money you put in. For me, I am fully aware that if I screw up, I'm the sole liability. You understand? So general partners, they understand if I screw up, I'm fully liable. While limited partners, or silent partners, as we call them, right? They have no voice, they have no say, so they're limited to their investment. So the liability is also limited to the money they put in. Okay. There's also business trusts, so REITs. We'll talk about this better in chapter 18. REITs cannot broker real estate. They're used for trading most of the times. They're used for buying, fixing, flipping, or buying and holding. Okay, not for brokering real estate. All right, so in the quick summary right here, who can broker? Who can become a broker of real estate? Well, as an individual, you can. As a sole proprietor, as a for-profit, as a general partnership, as a limited partnership, or a joint venture. Who cannot broker? Nonprofits, business trusts, or co-ops cannot broker real estate. Everything else is good. All right, so it's easier. The reason why I went to this, it's a lot easier to remember this one than this whole list. So remember who cannot. It's easier. By the way, sometimes it's a way to remember things. Like if there's like a huge list, right? And it's funny because this morning, on my way, I'm always listening to stuff, right? And one of the guys that I'm listening to, he says, what if instead of doing a to-do list, you do a not to-do list? You know, that's what he was saying. Like, what about doing a not to-do list? Because the to-do lists we never finish. Sometimes we don't even start. But if you do a not to-do list, you're already ahead because you're not going to do it anyway. All right, so it's a matter of perspective. The point here is, it was just a joke. But the point here is, if you guys look at what you cannot do, sometimes it's less than what you can do. Always look, in my opinion, it's a trick that you can use. Always look for the smallest list to try to remember what you cannot do, or what can you do, or limitations. Whatever it is that's on a list basis, look for the one that's easier for you to remember. Okay, not-for-profit, it's easy. This is a for-profit business. Business trusts, that's investments, so you cannot broker. And co-ops, it's form of ownership, so you either have condos or co-ops, but co-ops are not-for-profits because they are for the owners of the building, not for someone else, right? So everything else that you might see in the question, can I broker as an individual? Yes. Can I broker as a sole proprietor? That means I have my own tax ID separate from the individual, right? So yes. Can I have a for-profit corporation? Absolutely. Can I do it as a partnership, whether general or limited? Yes. And can it be a joint venture? Yes. Okay. So all these will be yeses. Ruth just said, I like that. Which part do you like? The not to-do list or? I was cracking up, by the way, because he was saying it as a joke. Sometimes you need that pattern interrupt. Like we follow a pattern every day. Whether you guys believe it or not, your daily activities are a pattern, right? Some people have a pattern of negativity. Some people have a pattern of positivity. And some people are like, another day, let's go, right? That's what it is, but it's a pattern, regardless of how you want to say it. So when he said that, when he said I was cracking up on my way up. I was cracking up. It was funny. You're already ahead because it's not to do anyway. Now, in addition to being organized as a sole proprietor, partnership, corporation, joint venture, a broker may be, or brokerage, may be independent or affiliated, so franchised, may be specialized in the type of property, may be specialized in the type of transaction or type of client. We talked about this on day one. If you are independent brokerage, if you're independent, it's high risk because independent guys, there's a lot of work. You have to create all the training. You have to put all the forms together. Like, it's not cookie cutter like a franchise. Okay? Franchise is just you adopt whatever they do already, and you can change a little bit, make it a little bit better or stronger in your own brokerage, right? But you already have a program that you can follow. So there's good things and bad things. Not everything is heaven, okay? So there's a great thing about independent because you can do your own thing, right? And sometimes being independent is actually better. A lot of people look at the brands, like there's two sides of the coin. There's people that look at the brands and like, oh, they're too big, they don't care about me, right? As an independent, I can go knock on doors and say, hey, listen, especially if you're new in the business, listen, I'm hungry. When I say I'm hungry, means I want to earn your business and I want to make sure I do whatever it takes to get the property sold. Simple. Everybody else, the big companies, the franchise, the Keller Williams, the Coldwell Bankers, the Wykers, they're comfortable, they're established, they're a brand, right? Do they really care about you, right? So there's two sides of this. People take advantage of either or for marketing. Now, I'm not telling you not to go to a Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just giving you both sides of it. The pros of a franchise, again, is you have a system. They have a recognized trade name. They have their own advertisement, right? Training programs, standard operating procedures, and even sometimes a national referral system. Okay, so again, great advantages because you hit the ground running. You have all this already for you. Great. But are you going to have people dedicated to you? These are the questions to ask, both for client side, right? If you're dealing with clients, and even for you as an agent. How focused are they going to be on you versus the franchise? Okay. The other part of it with franchises is fees. Independent brokerages usually have minimal fees. Franchise, sometimes you have everything fees. You have the copy fees, you have the office fees, you have why are you breathing fees, why did you come to the office fees, why are you not out there fees, there's a French fry fees, everything. There's fees, fees, and fees. Like everybody is different, obviously. All right, one person got it. Everybody's different, obviously, but franchises, that's usually the drawback. It's the amount of fees that come with the franchise. Great for all these reasons. Bad sometimes because of the comfort level and the fees they have to pay. So you need to know and balance out what you really want. There's commercial and residential brokerages, so whatever they focus on, as you guys know. There's transaction specialized brokerages. We talked about this in day one, so I'm moving forward. Transaction specialized brokerages. There's buyer and seller oriented brokerages. There's even people that focus just on rentals. Some brokerages are just for rentals. Okay. There's different trade associations. One of them is NAR. The most widely known, or the largest, is the National Association of Realtors. For you to be called a realtor, okay, for you to be called a realtor, you need to be a member. Make sure you write that down. Only members of the organization may use the term themselves. Okay? Doesn't it sound better, a realtor instead of salesperson? Right? Or you can do like some people say, realtor. There's no LA, but some people say, I'm a realtor. It's real Thor. Like the god of thunder, right? Thor. That's what we are. We're like gods. That's it. It just separates us, guys. The reason why I like the word realtor, for one reason. Sorry. The reason why I like the word realtor is because it separates us from that class that nobody likes. That classification of salesperson. I think most people have that stigma. Like you see a salesperson, right? And you're like, okay, salesperson, get away. All right, that's it, out. You know? So right away. But you see realtor, oh, okay. He helps me sell the house, or he helps me buy the house. It's a little different. I wish I could show you guys what I see on my screen, but I have Lula and I have Daniela right next to each other. And one or the other is getting driving lessons because they're both in the car, and literally it's a window right next to another window, right? And they're getting driving lessons. I'm sorry, Lula, you're by the wheel, and so is you're at the wheel, and so is Daniela. Which one of you is on the passenger side with the wheel? Anyway, I gotta stop. I have way too much. So, next. The broker-salesperson relationship. Doesn't say client, right? It says salesperson. Broker-salesperson relationship. So this is between you, salespeople, and your broker. Let's go over this real quick. You guys already know by now, and we're going to repeat this again, that only a broker with an active broker's license can hire and employ licensed salespeople. Okay? A licensed salesperson may work only for the employing broker and may not work for or receive direct compensation from any other broker. Can you get paid by the seller directly, salespeople? No. Can you get paid by the buyer? No. Can they give you bonuses? No. Any and all payments from a real estate brokerage activity must go through your broker. Very good. What can you do? A licensed real estate broker is duly authorized to represent clients directly in brokering real estate, but you guys, sales agents, you are only authorized to represent the broker and carry out such duties as the broker may legitimately delegate. So lawful instructions only. In other words, a sales agent does not directly represent the client. We covered this several times, especially in agency, right? They not represent the client, but they are agent of the broker and sub-agent of the client. A sales agent, therefore, a fiduciary of the employing broker. Okay, so you are fiduciary of the employing broker. That means your broker is your principal. And when you engage into a contract with the seller or the buyer, they become the principal of the broker. So whatever the broker is supposed to do for the client is what you do, because you represent the broker to the best of your ability. Okay, so if the broker is representing the client, you are representing the client. Simple as that. Okay. Any questions? Drop them in the chat. Okay. As agent of the broker, a salesperson may offer properties for sale or lease, procure buyers, negotiate transaction terms, or otherwise conduct business of brokerage. The agent, however, must act entirely on the broker's behalf. I don't know how many times we have to repeat this, but we will repeat because we're just in chapter 13. We will repeat this 1,000,000 times. You work on behalf of the broker. Simple. You're not a broker employee, you're independent, but you are sponsored by the broker. And I want you to think of it this way. I think everybody will understand this. Let's say you are, you play sports. You are a professional, let's say basketball player, right? Or whatever sport you guys like, doesn't matter. But a basketball player. And let's say you're being sponsored by Nike, right? If you're being sponsored by Nike, can you walk around the streets and sport Reeboks, for instance? Adidas? Maybe? You cannot. Because if you're sponsored by Nike, then that's your employing broker in this scenario. So therefore, you can only wear Nike. You can never go to a competitor. If you like a competitor so much, move. Simple as that, right? So if you work for, let's say, for New Direction Realty, as an example, then that's your sponsoring or your employing broker. Can you rave about how good RE/MAX system is? Can you get paid from RE/MAX? You see what I'm saying? Can you do transactions on behalf of RE/MAX? No, because you are a New Direction realtor. Okay? If you like RE/MAX, move. If you're at RE/MAX and you don't like RE/MAX, move. Join us, right? Or Century 21 or ERA, go wherever you need to go. But while employed, right, or sponsored by a broker, that's the only, so addressing Sanity right now, that's the only broker that you can be sponsored by or representing. Can you be in a different state with a different broker? Well, New Direction Realty, as an example, it's not a nationwide company yet. So New Direction Realty is only available in New Jersey. Can you go and get your license in PA and be with a small company there, or be with a franchise company there? If they have nothing against you being in a different company in Jersey, we got nothing with you being in a different company in PA. You understand? So within the state itself, usually you can only be sponsored by one broker. Okay? Jersey does not play that game. So if you're talking about Jersey law, one broker only. A salesperson And by the way, I don't know who Spencer is, okay? Sinead? I don't know who Spencer is. I know a lot of Spencers from TV, but actually I never met a Spencer. Like so many names, but never a Spencer. All right. Salesperson may not. You cannot bind a client to any contract, receive compensation directly from the contract, or accept a listing or deposit that is not in the name of the broker. So no monies directly to us, all in the name of the broker. You could be working as independent contractor, right? And the broker or employee, right? As an independent contractor, the broker has limited control over the actions of a contractor. Specifically, a broker can require performance results, but is limited to demanding how a contractor performs the work. So I can tell you, listen, you got to do at least 3 sales a year, as an example. So I can market you for performance, but I cannot tell you you have to be here at every meeting and you have to be here 9 to 5. I cannot demand that, or I cannot even tell you how to do it. Like force you to. I can tell you how to do it, but I cannot force you to do it one way or another. Okay, that's totally up to you. As long as what you do is not unethical, I cannot tell you a specific method for you to follow. And if you don't follow, you're out of here. No, you're independent, guys. Independent. Okay? All we can do is advise you on how you should run your business, on what we believe to be the most successful way to run the business. Okay? An independent contractor is responsible for their own taxes, right? And a broker cannot provide an independent contractor with employee benefits like health insurance or pension plans. All right, Ruth is asking, so I can do New Jersey and California and have a broker in both states? Yep. You can have 50 brokers in all 50 states and Puerto Rico. You can have 50 brokers. And then there's other countries. You can have license wherever you want, but usually one license per state. Different brokers, different states. Yana, you're having way too much fun with that song. Like, I know it's Baby Shark or something, but same. Focus it. Okay. All right, so employee-broker relationship. If you're an employee, then the broker has greater control over the actions of an employee. Okay, if you're an employee, then the broker can impose sales methods, right? So let's say you're a licensed employee. You have a license to be a salesperson, but look, I'll be honest. Some people are not meant to be out there on the streets. Like they're not good at getting leads. Some people like the business, but they cannot develop the business. So they need to be at the office. So sometimes you become what's called an ISA, inbound sales agent. So you're licensed, and any calls that come through, you handle them. That's pretty much it. And you get paid a compensation for it. So in this scenario, if you're an employee, then I can tell you this is how you sell here in the office. Right now I can impose things because you're an employee. In addition, I can enforce all office policies, including hours, 9 to 5, for instance, meeting attendance, and telephone coverage. A broker must withhold income taxes and pay unemployment compensation on behalf of an employee. So if you're independent, I give you a full check. If you're an employee, right, I deduct for the taxes. And maybe I can also give benefits, but I cannot give benefits to independent. Okay? Good? Hold on. Ruth says, by the way, guys, Ruth says one more question. So you guys mark this down, please, Zoomers, and whoever else is watching on YouTube. Ruth said one more question, so that means that's it. After this one, she's done with questions. All right, so let's see. Can anyone get a commission even if they are an employee for the broker? So you could get bonuses, you can get commission, right? So it could be even a split. I can tell you, look, Ruth, you're going to work for me, you're going to work at $200 a week, right? But I'll give you a percentage of everything that closes. Because you're licensed, yes, I can do that. If you are unlicensed, I could not. But because you're licensed, I can. So anything that comes through that you close, or you help close, I can give you a bonus. I can give you a commission per transaction. I can do whatever way I want, right? So base salary plus commission. It could be, yes. Oh, look, assistants. Can we have real estate assistants? The answer is yes, we can. Right? Can we have unlicensed real estate assistants? The answer is yes, we can. The problem is with unlicensed assistants, they cannot perform anything that requires a license. But they can do clerical work. They can help you if they're unlicensed, okay? They cannot do anything that requires license, but they can prepare files, right? They can submit stuff to the MLS, right? They can do a lot of things, answer phones, right? Organize marketing, all that good stuff. They can do a lot of stuff. All right, so unlicensed is fine. Okay. Agent compensation. How to get paid, right? Agent compensation. An agent employee of the broker may receive. So here's to answer your question, Ruth, right here. Agent compensation. An agent employee of a broker may receive wages, salary, additional commissions, expense reimbursements, and benefit plans. Independent contractors' compensation is normally a combination of commissions and free office support. Most sales agents work as independent contractors who earn a commission. Actually, most, we're talking about 90-something% of sales agents are independent. Mainly because most real estate offices, they run based on sales. So if there's not enough sales to sustain a salary, right, it wouldn't make sense for us to pay a salary. So again, most offices, they like to work on performance. That's why most independent contractors are, most sales agents are independent. Commission splits. A sales agent earns compensation for procuring listings listings and for procuring buyers and tenants whenever transaction results. In the jargon of brokerage, there are two sides to a commission. There's a listing side and there's a selling side. Okay? So even the way we explain the compensation plan, a lot of people go like, based on gross commission. If you made this, you made that, whatever. The way for me to explain is simple. It's based on sides. If you do 12 transactions a year, maybe in 6 of them, you represent both sides. So boom. That's it. You didn't do 12 transactions, right? You did 12 sides. You actually, in reality, you did 9 transactions. But it concludes as 12 because you have both sides. Do you guys understand? So each transaction is a side. If you represent both parties, you have 2 transactions within the same one. So an agent who procures a listing receives a share of the broker's listing side commission according to the commission schedule. An agent who sells a listing, that means they find a customer and receive a share of the broker's selling side of the commission according to the commission schedule, which is whatever you guys agree. Okay. So commission schedules is a comprehensive summary of commission splits under various circumstances. Like listing and sell side, the salesperson's level of sales performance, the broker's level of expense reimbursement to the agent, particular policies in the organization, and prevailing commission splits in the market. In view of these circumstances, an agent's commission schedule can vary widely. For example, an agent who is the highest sales producer in the market may be able to secure a 70 or 80% commission split with the broker, regardless of the side. If the broker is paying an inordinate amount of selling expenses, an agent commission split may be only 40%. Some brokerages have policies of not paying any expenses except rent. In such cases, the agent may receive 80 or 90%. So, I'll tell you what, there are some places that pay you 40%, right? But then again, they cover so many things for you. Like there's, I know in Portugal, so my aunt is a realtor, and she makes a little bit less than 50%. But they're happy because the agency gives everything to them, all the marketing, all the tools they need. It gives everything to them. So if I don't have to put money out and I get almost 50% of everything over there, they're happy with that. They can go above, a little bit above 50% if they're a team leader. Like if they're helping build a team and the other people's grow, then they go a little bit over 50%. In the United States, the majority of the brokerages, they have an average, this is the average out there, of 70-30. That means you keep 70%, your broker keeps 30. That's the average out there. There's agencies that do, like it says here, it'll be 80-20 or 90-10. There's agencies that will give you 100%, but then they charge you expenses. So here, if you're not paying expenses, you give more. If there's expenses, then there's more. If not, then they relay those expenses to you. That's why they give you more commission, and then you have to pay back somehow. So how do you calculate commissions? As an example, let's say the property sold for $500,000. And by the way, this is cool here for you guys to see realistic numbers. Okay. Until not too long ago, the average sales price in New Jersey was around 300 and something thousand, 310, 315, right? So that means that the commission was anywhere between 18 to 21,000. That was the total commission, the gross commission. So this is gross sales price, this is gross commission. On a $500,000, and I don't know where you are located, what your market is going to be, but for instance, here in the ironbound section of Newark, this will be more or less the average. In certain areas, even of the ironbound, this is really low, right? But let's talk about the average of let's put the whole Newark. Average of almost 500,000. You sell a property here, commission is around $30,000, one property. But are you getting the whole 30,000? The answer is no, because this is gross commission. If you're splitting with another agency, let's say it's 50-50. So your agency gets 15,000, their agency gets 15,000. And from there, you have to split with your broker. So in this case, we're assuming everything is 50, right? Let's make the number simple. In situation A, there's a cooperating broker. That means another agency. So the listing side, which deals with the seller, there's a listing broker, listing agents. The 6% commission was split 50-50-50, right? So this is 6%. 50-50-50. So that means that's on the seller side, and this is on the buyer side, right? So 3% to the sell side, 3% to the buyer side. Daniela even stopped to look at it. All right, money. All right, love it. That's it. I see. She was driving. She listen. You guys did not see. She went like, "Ooh, let me stop." All right, let me hear this. Nothing else. Nothing else matters. Let me hear this one. All right. So yes, Daniela, here you go. $15,000 goes to the selling broker. So that means your agency. And then the broker gives you a split of 50%. So you walk away with $7,500 from that one deal, right? And I'll tell you right now, this is like minimum. This is minimum because there's not many 50-50s. So technically, you would have walked away with $9,000, $10,000 out of this transaction, right? One deal. Not bad, right? Right? You make one deal a month, you're good, right? No, you want more? Okay, fine. So one more. Okay. You can have more. First year, I'll tell you right now, you're not going to have a deal a month. It's very difficult, right? It's not impossible, but it's very difficult because you have to be committed to making that happen. We have one agent here that in his first year, that's what he's doing. If he closes 2 more deals now in between the rest of November, right, and December, right? If he closes 2 more deals, which he has 3 pending, he'll be 1 a month in his first year, right? So yeah, and he went over the $100,000 already. So it's possible, right? It's just a matter of what you're gonna do. So let's say we did 50-50. That means that the listing broker got 15,000. Selling broker, so the buyers got 15,000. And again, 50-50 split. Same thing, 7,500, 7,500. So everybody's happy. Situation B. There's no cooperating broker and the listing agent finds the buyer. So let's say, Daniela, since you're paying so close attention, let's say you found the buyer for your listing. You walk away with a whopping $15,000. Well, more, because the 50-50 split is ridiculous. But anyway, $15,000 if you found the buyer. Okay? I like that smile. Look at that. Everybody's smiling now. Yeah. That's it. I quit my job right now. By the way, that's what this agent did too. He found a way to break his toe, and he stopped working. And while he was on the cast, he was really focused on the marketing. So those first 2-3 months, he was really focused on that. And then here comes pandemic, when people think, well, that's it. I broke my toe, I didn't work, and now pandemic? What am I going to do? This guy did not give up. He actually, that's when he started getting all his closings, was during the pandemic. Okay? So he just lined everything up, and now it's non-stop leads. Situation C. There's no cooperating broker, but another agent within the agency sold. Well, because there's no cooperating broker, the broker gets $15,000 and then splits $7,500 between the listing agent and the selling agent within the agency. Okay? Simple scenarios. Any questions on money? No? Okay. All right, operating real estate brokerage. We have to obtain listings, market listings. We have pre-closing activities, managing information. We have to have a policy manual, advertising regulations, and antitrust laws. Obtaining listings. So listings are the traditional source of a broker's income. The more listings we have, the more money we make. So by obtaining a listing, a broker obtains a share of the commission generated whenever a cooperating broker finds a buyer. It is not so certain that working with a buyer will provide income. In the absence of an exclusive buyer representation agreement, a buyer may move from one agent to another, as I said before in the previous chapter, from one agent to another without making any commitment. Agents can spend considerable time with a buyer and earn nothing, hence the special value of the listing, because it's likely to generate income. Listing procedures. The marketing and self-promotional efforts of agents generate listings. New agents usually focus on becoming well-known in a small geographic area and hope to encounter clients who are willing to list with them. The most experienced and better-known agents are able to rely on a greater extent on the referrals in obtaining listings. Like I said, this agent that we have, in 1 year, he established himself, and now he's getting a bunch of referrals. So next year, I'm predicting that he's going to double his income. The way he's going, I'm predicting he's going to double his income. right? And if he keeps on going this way, double, triple, even quadruple his income if it doesn't stop, right? Now, new or experienced, an agent needs to obtain certain skills at each step of the process for obtaining listings. Skill number 1, prospecting. All right, so what is prospecting? Looking. Prospecting is looking for people. But you can't just look for people. You have to learn how to talk to people. Yeah, I'm sorry. This business, you have to talk to people. Okay? So, if you're shy, like me, you're going to have to learn to talk to people. All right? So, prospecting. One of my mentors says, prospect on purpose. That means that everywhere you go, attempt a connection. Right? Prospecting means finding new people. It's not the same people. Finding new people every day. A few years ago, somebody challenged me and said that you should give out 10 business cards a day. Since then, it's one of the things that we implement in our practices to our agents. Give out 10 business cards a day. Right? That's a challenge. But it's not 10 business cards to the same people, because there's no point in, hey, how are you, Jeff, from the coffee shop? How are you, Jeff? Here's my business card. Oh, Bruno, you gave one to me yesterday and the day before. No, don't do that. New people. So what we're saying is challenge yourself to talk to new people every day. And you guys are going to learn this, so I'm not going to go in detail now, but you're not going to go and tell people, jump in front of them like those timeshare people at Disney World. Hey, I'm a realtor. You want to buy? You want to sell? All right, don't do that. But build relationships, okay? Build relationships with people, and there's ways to get them to ask what you do, okay? As soon as they ask what you do, that's it. That's the open door for you to do your marketing, right? That's the open door for you to say, I'm a realtor, right? And at the moment, I just started, but I'm, again, hungry, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and my team is amazing, right? You emphasize team. Right? It's very important wherever you go, emphasize team. Especially if you're brand new. If somebody sees you, like brand new, they're like, oh, that's good for you. They walk away, right? You don't want that. And like my team and I, it's amazing. We're doing this, we're doing that, whatever, right? And that attracts people, that positivity attracts people to then one day, hey, Yana, a couple of weeks ago when I met you at the cafe, you said you're a realtor, right? Well, yeah, I was thinking about buying a house. Could you help me? Right? It's not about the now. It's about the nurturing something for later. If it happens now, Diana, great, right? What if they call you a month from now? I had somebody that called me 5 years later. Says, Bruno, you still do real estate, right? I want to buy. Like, great. I completely forgot about you. Like in terms of purchase or sale. Like I know as a friend, but I forgot about you as a purchaser or sale because I mentioned back then and then you didn't say anything. But yeah, back then, you know, and this is a true story, right? So back then things were a little shaky, but now I'm ready. Now I'm ready. 5 years later. You understand? So nurturing for the future. That's what it is. Prospecting. Another skill, pricing. You need to develop the skill in pricing properties, whether you're the listing agent or the buying agent. One mistake that agents make, is putting offers on property without knowing their value. Just because it's listed for $300,000 doesn't mean it's worth $300,000. It could be worth more, it could be worth way less. So the pricing skill is both for the listing side and the buying side. When you're listing, doing a proper presentation is key. You don't want to just slam them with paperwork, right? Hey, your property's worth this much. Look at the other properties, and that's it. Let me walk away. No, there's skills you need to develop here because the seller needs to be attracted to what you're offering. Otherwise, you're just another realtor knocking on the door. Understand? So listing presentation is something you really, really need to develop your skills in. And negotiating the agreement, obviously, because everything is negotiable. You might say 6-month listing and the person says, nope, I'll give you 1 month. Negotiating. That's it. You might say, no, I want 10%. And they say, no, 1%. Negotiating. So Nate's like, what? 1%? It's negotiable. That's what I'm trying to say. So everybody's entitled to pull their own weight. Like, hey, my way, your way. And we try to meet in the middle. That's what negotiating is. Try to meet in the middle. Hopefully, my way goes. And I set 10%, and that's what I get, right? Hopefully. Anyway. All right, so we covered this. Pricing. This is chapter 16. Appraisals. We'll go more in details there. Marketing skills. You need to be able to develop a marketing plan. By the way, guys, we're on page 181, okay? All right. Sorry, guys. All right, so again, marketing plan. Need to develop a marketing plan. Selling the prospect on the marketing. And skills in obtaining offers, because obtaining offers, guys, you need to know which one is the highest and best offer. You cannot just say, oh, seller, we got an offer. Not say that. You have to look at it and say, seller, we have an offer. This is what it looks like. It's conventional, $300,000. We should wait and see if there's other offers. If there's no other offers, and this is a good one because it's conventional, right? And they put a substantial amount of down payment, so I think this is a good offer, right? What if two more offers come in and they're FHA? Do you guys know the difference between these, right? Now we have FHA offers. One of them, instead of 300,000, is 310. Well, seller, here's the thing. I know it's $10,000 more, but conventional versus FHA could mean 1 month versus 3 or 4 months closing, as an example, right? So we got to be able to analyze the offers. This is very important. Analyze the offers and relay that information to the seller, to which one you believe, in your professional opinion, to be the best. The ultimate decision is still theirs. But you have to be able to analyze those offers, okay? So, in selling the property, an agent must know how to qualify prospect plans, preferences, and financial capabilities, show properties that meet customers' needs, elicit the buyer's reactions to properties, and report material results to the seller and listing agent. Very important. Material results. Anything that could affect the transaction must be reported. At the earliest appropriate time, an agent must make certain disclosures to a prospective customer. Depending on the state laws, an agent may have to disclose the relevant agency relationship, the property's physical condition, and the possible presence of hazardous materials. Question: what are the possible agency relationships that we can enter into? Who can tell me? What are the possible business or agency relationships we can enter into? Anyone? Daniela, you're typing or just resting your head? You look so comfortable over there. All right. Answers. Agency relationships. Come on. Anybody? I got no answers. That's it. Class is over. Really? Really? Wow. Zaline has a cookie cutter. Employer, employee, employer. No. But this is getting somewhere. Sam, close. Close. There's something missing here. But this is one of the agencies. What other agencies do we have? You're going to be broke, yeah. If you don't know these agencies. Celine, thank you. Disclosed. Almost. Disclosed dual agency. Yes. So Sam, you're almost right. And then this is it. Disclosed dual agency. Because dual agency is illegal if you don't disclose the seller and the buyer how you can represent. But then single agency is correct. Kinda. What type of single agencies can we have? Sub-agency, forget it. What type of single agencies can we have? Chapter 11 was a long time ago. I understand that. So I'll forgive you for that, guys. But a whole chapter on agencies. No agency? What is that called? The question was, let me show you again. The question is, what type of agency relationships can we enter into? And we have one correct answer so far, which was disclosed dual agency. That means you represent both, right? Single agency means you represent one, but what types of single agencies do we have? Get used to this. Seller's agent, buyer's agent, disclosed dual agent, or transaction broker. These are the types of agency relationships we can enter into, and we have to explain this up front to the clients, okay, or customers. We have to explain to up front, disclose the agency relationships, okay. Next page, obtaining offers. An agent must be extremely careful at this point to abide by the fiduciary obligations to the client, whoever that party might be. Discussions of price are particularly delicate. Whether the client is a buyer or the seller, the agent's duty is to uphold the client's interest, right? Best interest. So, it is not acceptable to suggest to a customer the price that a client will or will not accept. And we talked about this yesterday. All these examples here, it's very simple. If you represent the seller, will you tell the buyer that the seller is willing to accept lower than what is listed for? Doesn't make sense. You have to be very careful. With pricing and other issues, it's always a good practice to understand what role the client wants the agent to assume in the offering phase of the transaction. In other words, exactly how far the agent may go in developing terms on the client's behalf. When the buyer or tenant makes an offer, the agent must present it to the seller or landlord at the earliest possible moment. If the terms of the offer are unacceptable, the agent may assist the seller in developing a counteroffer, which the agent would subsequently submit to the customer or customer's agent. The offering and counter-offering process continues until the meeting of the minds results in the sale. Now, look what it says. When a buyer or tenant makes an offer, the agent must present it. Can I hide offers? Can I select offers? As an agent, no. It doesn't matter how ridiculous the offer is. It could be a $1 offer. I'm going to buy your house for $1. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. You have to grab that paper, bring it to the seller, give your opinion on it, but you cannot reject offers for the client. Client is the only one that can accept or reject offers. You guys got it? Thumbs up? Okay, remember, because there might be a question in the state exam. It does the whole thing in green, right? You have to present all offers. Okay, it doesn't say reasonable offers, it says offer. So when it says offer and doesn't specify anything else, means all offers, written offers obviously, must be presented. That's very, very important. As far as pre-closing activities, your responsibility is to help the client, right? This is pre-closing activities. Help the client, for instance, obtain financing. So it's our job to make sure, hey, here's a loan officer, let's talk to them, and I can help you as well. It's our job to assist the seller in clearing title or give hints on what to do. It's our job to assist the seller in completing property repairs, recommending inspectors, appraisers, attorneys, title companies, assisting communications between the principals, and even assisting in the exchange of transaction documents. I just want to point something out. It says assisting the seller in completing property repairs, and a lot of people get confused on this one. It's the same thing as clearing title and obtaining financing. We're not the ones doing it. Our job is to advise or consult. So we will assist in all of these by recommending any of these. You understand? That's our assistance. It's not like, okay, let me put my working clothes on, I'm going to do property repairs with you. No, don't do that. Okay? Do not do that. You're not going to get paid for that. And if something goes wrong, both licenses, if you have a construction license as well, both licenses will be affected. So this is why we always refer to someone else. Okay? All right, broker's responsibilities. The listing broker has a primary responsibility for handling deposit monies. So if somebody gives you $10,000 cash, right, you have to deposit right away, correct? Yes? The answer is no. The broker deposits, not us. We're salespeople. We don't touch escrow accounts, okay? Listen, I'll trick you from here until the final week, because this question is guaranteed to pop up, something along these lines. If you are not the broker, you cannot deposit money or handle monies. You can receive it, but you have to give it to your broker right away. The broker has to follow certain rules when it comes to handling other people's money, which is putting that money into an escrow account. Okay? So the broker must be careful to avoid two common violations of escrow regulations: commingling and conversion. Commingling, as I usually call it, is a nice Chinese word to remember. No offense to Chinese, it's just as the sound goes, right? I know one day I'll get sued for this one, but commingling, right, is an easy way to remember. Commingling is mixing funds. Okay, so when you see commingling, is mixing funds. So what funds are we mixing? Other people's money with the personal or brokerage money. That's mixing, is commingling. I'm going to repeat this a million times. Commingling, mixing. Now, if you happen to deposit that money into the broker's account and then use the money, that is called conversion. Conversion is using other people's money. So not only did you mix, it's already illegal, you mix the funds, you also use the money. So you convert it from other people's to your money, for your usage. Conversion carries with it certain severe consequences, including license revocation, just like commingling. Same thing. Okay? Any questions on this? Let me know if you have questions before I proceed. All right? Good. MLS, you guys already know, this is where we list all the properties for sale with cooperating brokers, brokers' websites, firm websites, and so on. So we're just advertising to everybody. There's something called IDX, which is Internet Data Exchange. This is what extracts info from the MLS and puts it on websites like brokerage websites, Zillow, Trulia, and so on. It's through the Internet Data Exchange. All right. Things you have to be careful with. Emailing, texting, social media, smartphones, all these, right? You have to be very careful to not, I'm just skipping through because there's another area I'm going to talk about them. They have to be very careful not to do unsolicited marketing. It's okay to do cold calling or cold marketing to people you don't know. It's okay. But if they're on a do not call list, you have to be careful with that, right? Because you could get sued big time. You also have to include something there. Sorry, we're now on page 184. We have to include something there that allows them to opt out. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Allows them to opt out. This is a question in the state exam. Okay? It follows what's called the Can Spam Act. When we spam people, like when you receive a bunch of emails that you're like, why am I getting these emails, right? And it's sent to you every day, like, hey, coupon here, discount there, right, out of the blue, or buy this, or buy that, like just random advertisement, okay? That's spam. So on page 184 at the bottom, it says, advertising is an important tool in marketing properties and procuring buyers. It is, however, subject to regulations and restrictions. And in general, state laws and regulations require that advertising must not be misleading. Common sense, something that a lot of people lack, unfortunately. That's why we now have to state, hey, if it's misleading, don't do it. Okay? A broker is responsible for the content of the advertising done by the agent. So if I'm your broker, and you guys decide to do marketing and just do whatever you want, and it's something that's misleading, I'm responsible for your actions. I'm your broker. So that's why usually marketing should be approved by the broker. All marketing or all advertising must reveal the identity of the broker. What does that mean? It means that if you decide to create a web page, for instance, or flyers or whatever to say, hey, John sells New Jersey. John sells this house. John, look at this house. It's by John, right? John is not the problem. The problem is John advertising without saying that I'm the broker or that New Direction Realty is the broker, as an example, right? You have to clearly state who you represent, okay? So you cannot use blind ads concealing your identity as an individual, but also the identity of your broker. Because again, who do you represent? The broker. It's not yourself. I mean, partly it is yourself, but the broker. And I'm responsible for anything you do. All right? So that law brings the liability to the broker as well. Brokers selling their own property through the brokerage must disclose the brokerage identity. So the laws state that if I'm selling my own property, I must state that I'm a broker as well, or that I'm a realtor as well, or whatever. So I must state who I am in this transaction. I cannot just say, hey, here's my property. I know nothing about real estate, right? We have an unfair advantage on the general public. That's what we're saying here. Okay. Now the TCPA, Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and like I said before, the Can Spam Act. Okay? These control, and I'm going to go real quick to one part. I already mentioned this, so I'm going to go real quick to one part that's important, that's very important for the state exam. But these control your phone marketing activities and your email and text marketing activities. You cannot just blast messages, whether voice or in writing. You cannot just blast messages without consent. If you do blast messages without consent, then you have to have something that allows them to opt out of that marketing. Okay? This is under the canned spam. What I want you guys to see, because the question in the exam, they say you got to wait 180 days or something like that. What I want you guys to see is that it says opt out. It doesn't say opt out tomorrow. It doesn't say opt out 6 months from now. It says opt out today. Okay? So there's an opt out choice. If I send you marketing, I have to have an option there that says unsubscribe. Click here to unsubscribe starting today, not starting a year from now. All right? So that's the answer. Opt out immediately. Okay? If you see in the state exam or school exam, opt out immediately. Again, it's like the do not call list right here. It's the same thing. You cannot call me from this moment on. If I'm on this list, do not call. If I'm on the unsubscribe list or opt-out list, you cannot send me messages anymore, and so on. Any questions on that? Questions? Once? Twice? All right. So, antitrust. Sinead's asking, where do you get the DNC list? So you're talking about for you to get into it, or for you not to call those people? Not to call those people? Yeah. So when you do your marketing, there's registries, right? When you do your marketing, when you pull leads, right? Usually it says that there are on the do not call, depending on the lead system that you use. You'll say that they are on the do not call list, so you call those, or they don't even populate your times, right? The cool thing is, if you guys learn about reverse marketing, right? One day when you learn that, not now, but if you learn about reverse marketing, and people that are on the do not call list, they approach you. From there on, they're on a yeah, I'm gonna call you list. Okay? You cannot approach them, but if they approach you, that's why I said reverse marketing, where they come to you, then you can start calling them. All right, so antitrust is more about monopoly. It's about control. Okay? About monopoly control. And we're almost done, guys. Just a few more pages. I know it sounds like a lot of pages still to go, but it's not much. Especially because Sherman Antitrust and Clayton Act, we're going to talk about it in a different chapter, more in detail. But you need to remember, Sherman Antitrust, it's about conspiracy and monopolistic practice. This is where we're trying to set standards. And you guys know commissions are negotiable, right? So we cannot set standards. We cannot take advantage of other businesses, like Clayton Antitrust Act, exclusive contracts, predatory prices, stuff like that, right? So these are the two to remember. Again, we'll talk about it better in a different chapter. Okay. So under Clayton Act and antitrust, the Sherman Antitrust Acts, we talk about the anti-competitive behavior. We talk about collusion, right? Price fixing, which is big in the state exam. Price fixing is setting standards. Okay. Market allocations, where I'm saying between competing offices, I'm going to this office and say, hey, listen, these types of houses, these types of people, I deal with them. You deal with the rest. So I'm not competing with you. You're not competing with me. So by separating the market or allocating market, we are controlling a certain type of market. So again, it falls into antitrust or monopoly control. Okay. And again, we have a section just. All right. Next thing we have is business brokerage. Now, business brokerage versus real property. What's the difference between these? Well, this is the difference. We're not talking about the brokerage business, right, as we conduct business. We're talking about business brokerage, meaning mediating sales of businesses. So a restaurant, for instance, the school, for instance, a clothing store, for instance, those are businesses. They are not real estate. Okay? So when we're talking about business brokerage, we're talking about being able to sell or not a business. Can we market or not a business, right? So we need to define the difference here. See, business brokerage is effecting the sale or exchange of an existing business. Sale or exchange of an existing business. In most cases, the sale of a business entails the simultaneous transfer of an estate in land, whether it's a leasehold or a fee. So, what enables us, because our license is a real estate license, what enables us, guys, maybe you have too much fun there. What enables us to sell businesses or market businesses is the fact that real estate is involved, whether it's a lease or it's ownership. So that enables us to help somebody sell their restaurant, to help somebody sell their clothing store. Okay? As long as there's real estate involved, we can always step in. That's what we're saying. As long as there's real estate involved, we can step in and make commission. So now we're making commission on the real estate portion, plus commission on the business portion. Okay? The critical difference, next page, the critical difference between selling a business and selling real estate is that selling a business includes the transfer of business income, personal property assets, like again, I have computers here, I have TVs, I have tables, I have chairs. Those are personal items that belong to the business, so they're personal property. And possibly also liabilities. What do you mean liabilities, Bruno? Well, there's debts that I owe, and when you buy the business, you also take the debts on with you, right? Here's the good thing. The debts are creating credit, and the debts are for the purpose of getting whatever we have here, for instance, like the chairs, the computers, and all that. Let's say I financed all of this. That could be transferred sometimes to the new owner, right? So these are things that come with a property, but these are personal property. Rose, yes, at 5:30. All right. And there's two different types of sales. There's the asset sale and there's a stock sale. The asset sale, guys, very simply. I know this part is a boring part of the chapter. I know. The asset sale. Jan is there. She's literally dying like, oh my God, is this over again? Please help me. All right. So, asset sale is where we're selling everything that's within the business, but we're not selling the name, for instance. A stock sale, you're buying the name, and with the name comes everything. So you're buying the LLC, let's say. So because you're buying the LLC, right, you buy all the rights of everything that comes with it. Instead of selling things individually, I sell you stock and what it's worth. Okay, so that's pretty much the difference between assets and stock. Okay, sales contract, we have a chapter for that. Accounting. This is a little different than accounting for the real estate transactions. It's a little different. See here, we don't need to be accountants. We don't need to be the CPAs, so certified public accountants, right? But we need to know the basics to understand a profit and loss, for instance, an income statement, right? Taxes. We need to know the basics. Income, expenses, so that's the P&L. Assets, liabilities, and the net worth on the balance sheet. So we need to be able to read, translate, and pass it along to a potential buyer. Okay, again, we are not CPAs. We don't have to be CPAs, but we need to have the basic understanding, which is not this class, by the way. In this class, we're not going to go in details for business. But you need to have the basic understanding when reading profit and losses. Okay. Under the business assets, the the asset of a business include tangible assets and intangible. Tangible, so things we can hold on to, tangible things we can hold on to are obviously cash. Well, nobody can hold on to cash, it flows. But anyway, marketable securities, inventory. So if it's a restaurant, right, they have inventory, they have stock, right? Trade fixtures and equipment. We need to know how much that stove costs, that fridge, how much do they cost, what is their value? Real property and accounts receivable. Intangible assets. Company name. Is the business selling the company name? Like, let's say New Direction School, I'm selling it to you. Am I including New Direction School, or am I including just the stuff we mentioned up here? What is being included in the sale? Okay. Trademarks, copyrights, licenses, contracts for fruits or sales of goods or services, and goodwill. These all have value. Okay. Guys, how do you give value to these things, right? But they all have value. And I'll be honest, I don't deal with sales of businesses. I have somebody else that does. We don't have to be full round experienced in every single detail. No. We just need to know somebody that specializes in this. I don't do business. I do residential, indoor, period. Anything outside of that scope, I'll refer to somebody else. Simple as that. I still make money, but I refer to somebody else that's a pro at doing these things, as an example. Okay. All right. Determining the price, like I said, it varies. All right, here, Uniform Commercial Code. So we are on page, sorry. This is guaranteed to be in the exam. 189. So you guys know there are some chapters. I skip a lot of things either because I already addressed or will address later, or there's not high focus on the state exam. I'll cover the basics, and then I'll focus on what is in the state exam. All right? UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. The Uniform Commercial Code regulates the sale of personal property on a state-by-state basis and forms the basis for standardized sales documents. Standard documents include promissory notes, security agreements, and bills of sale. This applies to business only. Okay? There's something called a Bulk Sales Act. Every state has something about the Bulk Sales Act because you're selling things in bulk. I'm not selling you a chair. I'm not selling you a computer. When I sell the school, for instance, as an example, I'm selling the name, I'm selling the chairs, the tables, the computers, the TVs, everything that's here. The customer list, for instance, everything that's here is being sold in bulk. That's why it's called the Bulk Sales Act. Now, the Bulk Sales Act was created to protect creditors against loss of collateral, right, in an indebted business through the undisclosed sale of the business inventory. So if I sell the business and I don't let the creditors know that I sold, or I don't tell you, the buyer, that I owe money, then what are you really buying, right? What did I really sell? So this is to protect creditors that might not be able to collect from you, the buyer, and also to protect you, the buyer, from creditors that can potentially collect. Okay? Since the creditor could lose the security in such a sale, the seller must disclose the names of creditors to the buyers in a bulk sales affidavit, and the buyer must notify the creditors of the sale, who may then take appropriate action to secure their loans. So if you're buying a business, you have to contact every single creditor and say, listen, I'm buying this business, right? This is what they told me they owe you. Is this correct? That's what it is, okay? And again, we're going to get to this in the state portion as well. The state portion has more specific details of how long you have to wait or how long do you have to report. As far as syndications and securities brokerage, syndication is pretty much, just making a simple example here, is pretty much, look, I want to buy a 100-unit apartment building. 100-unit apartment building. I don't have the money to buy it all myself. So I'm going to go to you guys and say, hey, listen, can we join forces and buy the building together? So syndication is a form of investment where two or more investors contribute capital to a pool for the purpose of acquiring, managing, and selling investment property for profit. Syndication. Okay? Syndication could be in several different forms. It could be a partnership, it could be a corporation, it could be a lot of stuff. The thing about syndications is that sometimes, and as you see, I have nothing highlighted here. Syndications that sometimes you need to get a securities license. Depending on the amount of investors and the amounts that the investors are putting in, you might be deemed a security. So therefore, you have to have a security license. Okay, so trading license. All right. You guys have any questions regarding this chapter? In chapter 18, we're going to go over securities a little bit better. So, question. Zoomers, questions. YouTubers, questions. You know. It was a tough second half, I know. Some things don't come with many examples. That's why it's a little tough. Even though I try to get as creative as possible, but some things are tough to develop on. All right. No questions? Make sure you guys focus on the agency, please. What we went through in the first half of today cannot happen in the state exam. I guarantee you, if you don't study anything else from this first couple days, at least, and from this week, obviously, at least chapter 11, be fully focused on that, please. All right. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give you the rest of this session for you guys to enjoy. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you Monday, right? Okay, I'll see you Monday. So enjoy Thanksgiving. Please study. Don't take advantage of, oh, it's party time. Don't take advantage of that. Please study and send me questions. I'm still here available for you guys, okay? If not, I'll see you tonight at 5:30. And if not that, then Monday. Enjoy, guys. Thank you.